like Sadie T.M. I'm with a brilliant mind. I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine. Let it shine. First black person PhD in economics. Then she earned her law degree, stood for equality, blazing trails with grace, lifting up our place. She let it shine, she let it shine, she let it shine. Delta Sigma Theta called, and she stood up tall, led with love and justice. She uplifted all, marching with her pride, sisters by her side. She let it shine, she let it shine, she let it shine. She fought for civil rights, spoke truth to power's face. From courtrooms to the streets, she helped to shape this place. Her light still burns today and will rise in our own way. We're gonna let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. We'll let it shine, let it shine, let it, it shine. Thank you, everyone. Good morning, everyone. It is such an amazing, beautiful day. We are here. First of all, thank you so much for joining us. Morgan, where are my notes? Because my iPad just went dead. Morgan. Sorry, hold on. Technical difficulties. Everybody needs a Morgan. Yes. Okay, this is what it says. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to City Hall. I am Val Gay, Chief Cultural Officer for the City of Philadelphia, and have the great privilege of serving as Executive Director for Creative Philadelphia, your city's Office of Arts and Culture. And we know it's quite hot out here today, so we really appreciate you joining us. And until it's empty, please know if you're feeling a little thirsty, a little parched, go over there to the red cooler and get some water, please. So today marks a historic milestone for our city. Philadelphia's public art collection is believed to be one of the largest in the nation, containing over 1,000 public works ranging from statues to mosaics, outdoor seating, murals, and more. Many of this work honors individuals who have shaped our city and nation. Yet, Dr. Alexander will be just one of the first 3 statues in the city's collection to honor a Black woman. Yes, let me just stop there. Y'all didn't clap loud enough for that because that's like amazing. She will be joining Harriet Tubman, who will sit right there, and Blanche Nixon in Cobb's Creek. And both of them are currently in development. Creative Philadelphia is deeply honored to recognize Dr. Alexander's immense impact on our city and to play a role in reshaping our public art collection to better reflect the people who built and continue to serve Philadelphia, because representation in public space matters. Something like we like to keep in mind at Creative Philadelphia, especially when it comes to public art, is you can't be what you can't see. It gives me chills to imagine the next generation of Philadelphians walking past a statue of Dr. Alexander located in the heart of this city and being inspired to follow in her footsteps. Now, to tell you a little bit more about the upcoming statue and the public art process, please join me in welcoming Creative Philadelphia's Public Art Director, Marguerite Englund.
Hello, everyone, and thank you, Val. Val, I want to emphasize your point. This project marks an important step to furthering representation in the city's public art collection. And this is a key priority in how we manage and steward the city's public art. Our open call process involves robust community engagement. We believe every new city commissioned public artwork should truly represent the community where it lives. For each new commission, we assemble a unique selection committee made up of key stakeholders and subject matter experts who ultimately select the artist or team for the permanent artwork. For this project, we were incredibly fortunate to have 19 people on this selection committee who are deeply connected and committed to Dr. Alexander's legacy. The committee included family members of Dr. Alexander, representatives from the Philadelphia NAACP, UPenn Law School, Delta Sigma Theta's Philadelphia Alumni Chapter, the Philadelphia Bar Foundation, Sadie Collective, Philadelphia Commission on Human Relations, the Colored Girls Museum, Friends of the Henry O. Tanner House, the Office of Councilman Jeffrey Young Jr., Sadie's biographer, as well as other representatives, artists, and design professionals. If you are a committee member and you're here today, can you please stand or wave your hand? I want people to see you. Give them a round of applause, please. This selection committee carefully reviewed each design proposal, evaluating how well they represented Dr. Alexander's legacy and factoring in the public's feedback. With 5 great finalists, it was not an easy decision. We thank the committee for their time, care, and commitment. Can we give them just another round of applause, please? We would also like to acknowledge the family of Dr. Alexander, some who traveled to be with us here today. Could you raise your hand, if you can, if you're a family member of Dr. Sadie Tanner Mossell Alexander? We are so thankful for your support of this project and how you carry Dr. Alexander's legacy every day. We're also grateful to the public for your excitement and meaningful engagement in this process. In June, we held a public design presentation where the 5 finalist artists shared their statue designs directly with the public. Following that, we distributed a public survey that received more than 1,000 thoughtful responses, and the committee evaluated that. We are grateful also to the finalists, our 5 artist finalists, for submitting excellent proposals. Vinnie Bagwell, Tanda Francis, yes, Raven Shalaya D. Clark, Alvin Pettit, and Team Wilson Hayes Hanzo, which is the team of David Wilson, Stephen Hayes, and Corey Hanzo. Let's give them all a well-deserved round of applause, please. In the end, the winner, to be announced shortly, was unanimously selected by the committee. I said unanimously selected by the committee, and received the highest public rankings across all, and I say all, public survey criteria. And so now I'm honored to welcome a very special member of the selection committee, Dr. Ray Alexander Mentor, Dr. Sadie T.M. Alexander's daughter, who will share some reflections about her mother and her experience on the committee. Dr. Alexander Mentor.
This is a great honor for my mother, for the family, but I didn't realize that was her office after the law firm was dissolved and my father went to the court of common pleas and that building, my mother, and she she wanted to be close to City Hall because it mattered to her and to the city of Philadelphia. I want you to know that Sadie Tanner Mossell Alexander was a very self effacing woman. Perhaps that may be a new word for some people, because Black people should not be modest, they should be self effacing. My mother grew up knowing who she was, knowing that her place on earth, whoever she, up there, she knew that she had to be provide legal representation for those who were marginalized. The field of economics, where she was the first African American, regardless of gender, to have a PhD in economics, but could not receive a position, was unable because she was Black and a woman. And when she went into the law, and she was with her husband and five other men, all from good, wonderful law schools. And my father was Raymond Pace Alexander. She was the only woman, and they gave her work of family law because that, in those days, that's what women were. They didn't go to criminal court. They didn't go to, they went to the family court. And I bring that up because I believe the work that I have been doing over several years here in Philadelphia regarding my mother and my family, I have seen a Sadie Tanner Mossell Alexander as a fighter, but a woman with great dignity and humanity for others who had been segregated because of race or gender, economic deficiencies, lack of proper education. In essence, she was their voice. And often, as you know, my mother did not charge people if she felt they had a compelling case. What I have seen and what I am learning, and they say I'm on the right track, although my doctorate is in anthropology and education. My mother transformed family law. She made it a place for salvation, for humanity, for caring. And with my father, they had an extraordinary legacy together with the other lawyers in the firm. But I want to go skip and tell you something that I've never told publicly. So this is it. As a doctoral candidate student, I became very close to Margaret Mead, the very famous anthropologist. And one day, Dr. Mead said to me, Dr. Mead knew the family because her father was one of my mother's faculty professors. And she said to me, do you know why Raymond Pace Alexander, Bill Coleman, sorry, the third would be the first African American to hit on the federal court. No, Um, she said, no, I say. She said, because the people who make the decisions, he had, they had the right color, they had a Harvard degree, they have all of this. And she said, it isn't that they're not qualified, it's who they want to admit. I came back home to Philadelphia and I was a little scared. My mother never cursed, never raised her voice, but I told her what Dr. Mead said. And my mother said, tell Dr. Mead that she's correct. And that is why I don't accept a lot of invitations because I know why they want us there. She said, I would rather have them call me and say, so and so is graduating from graduate school or something. And I go over and have a glass of wine, a cup of tea. And I put that down to tell you my father, as you know, was the first African American to be on the bench and common pleas. I want you to know that we received death threats. I want you to know that the Bar Association, when they met, and my mother was in the meeting, voted against him, said he wasn't qualified. I was home on Jefferson Street, 1708 West Jefferson Street. And the phone rang. It was 1959. My mother was in India giving a speech. It was just my father and I. My sister was away in college. I answered the phone. It was then the governor leader on the phone about 11:45 p.m. And he said, asked for my father. I left the room. And when my father was finished with the phone call, he told me that the governor made a midnight decision and he was placed on the bench, the first Black. You have no idea that when he went on the bench, the lawyers, all of whom, none of whom were Black, the bar said he wasn't qualified. When he went through that. But also, I want you to know the strength of my mother. They, and you know who they are, came to my mother before the governor went out of office and they offered her a lower court so they wouldn't have to deal with Raymond Pace Alexander. And my mother said no. I just want you to know it was not easy. Here's a woman who was lambasted, who was in racial isolation for most of her doctoral work at the University of Pennsylvania. And let me tell you, I learned so much more about my mother and her strength. And that is, she founded the Delta chapter. Why? Because she was isolated, racially isolated as a student by both the faculty and the students. And she felt Delta met in the bishop's home, which was the help of a wonderful team of Dr. Rogers. We saved the home in North Philadelphia, and the Deltas met there. And she found friendship, she found love, she found a community. She went through a lot, but she left us so much. And what I want you to know is that every child who will see this statue, what we want them to know, it is they. And my mother was very strict about language and grammar, by the way. It was they that she worked because if they knew how important North Philadelphia is and its history, it's singing with history. It's singing, singing, singing. And what I want you to know is that every child, if they knew their history, and my mother was very keen that we, my sister and I, knew our history. If you know your history, you can be Sadie. You can be Raymond. You can be the Mayor Parker. You can be that, but you've got to know your history. And I thank you. I thank you. Thank you for what you did for my mother, for me. I grew up with her. I tell the funny story. We had housekeepers and cooks, but they were often off on Saturday and Sunday. And my mother had to cook. My mother was a terrible cook. And she gave, one day I said, Mom, I can't take it any longer. She gave me $3 or $4, and I went to Father Divine. Now, I told that story 20 years ago to women lawyers, and they said she didn't cook. I told that story to the young women in economics that is named for my mother getting their PhD, or they have it already. And they said, why should Sadie cook when she could be working on a brief and writing? Why should she be in the kitchen wasting her time? Wow, I said, we've come. Mother was the first feminist I ever knew. And there were her accolades. Sadie is in all of us, and we need to put it in the children, in the schools, everywhere, because they can be Sadie, they can be Raymond, they can be it all. Thank you. Thank you.
I love her. She's just awesome. Thank you so much, Dr. Ray Alexander Mentor. You have no idea how grateful Creative Philadelphia is to the Sadie Alexander Statue Selection Committee. And it was no small feat to review these competitive proposals and come through the public comments. Now, I just have to tell you, our very first meeting, which was back in October, 15 minutes before it was time for us to meet, and it was supposed to be on Zoom. Marguerite England runs into my office and goes, Dr. Ray Alexander Mentor is on her way here. And I was like, what do you mean she's on her way here? She was like, she's on her way. I was like, but it's on Zoom. She was like, she doesn't care. She got on a train and she's on her way. And so we quickly set it up, and we had the benefit of having her presence with us, not only for the meeting, but then afterwards. And we're so grateful, so grateful. So now, without further ado, I am honored to welcome Mayor Cherelle L. Parker, who has long championed Dr. Alexander for recognition through public art, to share what Dr. Sadie Alexander means to her and the city of Philadelphia, and to announce the winning artist. Mayor Parker.
We should all just say ditto. uh, Dr. Ray Alexander Mentor not only just gave us a history lesson, she took us to church and to the world of academia. Thank you so very much for your profound words. Can we give her another round of applause, please? I want to start just by recognizing some very important people. And of course, many of them were already recognized, but I can't in good conscience begin my remarks without you knowing them in name. Dr. Ray Alexander Mentor and I, along with a woman who was my chaperone on my first trip outside of the U.S., in West Africa, in Senegal, in the Gambia, and to Morocco, where she too was also a teacher, a mentor, and quite frankly, a walking muse for me. But she and Dr. Ray Alexander Mentor and I had many conversations and meetings. And back in 2018, I don't know, Dr. Alexander Mentor and Karen Warrington. It seems like we were far, far away, but I want to say a special thank you to each of you for believing and for your patience and understanding that with a tad bit of fortitude, along with commitment and dedication and some stick to itiveness, we could be where we are today. So please give a round of applause for Karen and Dr. Alexander Mentor. It's an honor to be here this morning as we prepare to announce the artists who will create a statue of Dr. Sadie T.M. Alexander. As you heard, a Philadelphia native and civil rights trailblazer whom I have been advocating to honor with a statue since 2018, long before I became the mayor of the city. At that time, I was a member of the City Council of Philadelphia. And when people would ask me why Dr. Sadie Tanner Mossell Alexander, I would run through her many groundbreaking accomplishments. And the first one I would start with, because we are not accustomed to hearing, which is why the collective was so important, of hearing the name of an African American woman and naturally pairing that with the field of economics. And so for her to be the first African American to earn a PhD in economics in the United States of America itself, that alone was enough as far as I was concerned. However, when you add on that she was the first Black woman to graduate from the University of Pennsylvania's law school, the first to be admitted to the Pennsylvania bar, the first, and I wish Renee Garcia, but I'm thinking about Renee Garcia and Sharice Lilly and Shelley and so many others, because she was also the first Black woman to serve as an assistant city solicitor right here in the city of Philadelphia. And then I know you see a sea of red and crimson and cream today, but she is the first national president of that Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated amazing sisterhood. And to me, that societal impact had a lasting and profound imprint on the hearts and minds of Philadelphians. And why? Because Dr. Alexander stepped boldly through doors that for decades had been closed to others, and that's legacy. So, to Dr. Ray Alexander Mentor and her family, I want to say thank you to each of you for being willing to carry such a profound legacy that is quite naturally embedded in you because you are a product of good stock. But it did not mean that you would have to spend your life's work to lift up that legacy. And for that, we are grateful. To the entire statue selection committee and Creative Philadelphia staff, Val Gay, come on over here with me, please. We said we were going to do a different thing, Philadelphia, and that meant we needed to have an amazing leader. And to you, Val Gay, and to Public Art Director Anglin, the Percent for Art Project Manager Marie, your work to carefully look through every finalist's work, I know, was a tough task. So to everyone who was on the statue selection committee, I said, yes, I work in government and politics, but your job is one job I did not want to have. It was, a lot because there were such amazing submissions. And so with Dr. Alexander's extraordinary life rooted in service and justice, I can't think of any location more fitting for Dr. Alexander's statue than in front of the building that Philadelphians go to address many of the quality of life issues that we traditionally need services and assistance for in our daily lives. And why the MSB? Because it is a reminder to everyone of the progress that we made. I now have the honor and privilege to announce the selected artists. This artist, a woman, a visual narrator, a sculptor who gives voices to the ancestors through her powerful storytelling. And when you see the image, it in and of itself, without speaking a word, just looking at it, tells the story of generations of people who refused to be put in a box and who walked in places and spaces where folks thought that they should not be allowed to enter. I am honored and privileged to announce Vinnie Bagwell. Vinnie,
Benny, can you come up, please?
oh, this can't, she can't move this. Oh.
Good afternoon. History is the memory of people, and I make art to let my God know I'm listening. I am profoundly honored and deeply grateful to accept this public art commission to create a sculpture honoring, of course, the extraordinary Sadie Tanner Mossell Alexander, a woman whose brilliance, courage, and dignity shaped our nations in ways that we are only beginning to fully understand. To the city of Philadelphia, the Percent for Art Commission, Creative Philadelphia, the Selection Committee, I thank you for entrusting me with this sacred responsibility. And to the Alexander family and the community, advocates who have long carried her legacy, thank you for your vision, your faith, and your fight. As a public artist, I see sculpture not just as a form or a monument, but as a portal, a way to, well, for everyday people to connect with the stories that deserve to be seen, deserve to be heard and remembered. Sadie Alexander's story is not just Black history or women's history, it's American history, and it belongs in the public square. Dr. Alexander was a force, a scholar, an attorney, an advocate, and the first Black woman to earn a PhD in economics in this country, and still she met closed doors. But she didn't stop. She pushed them open and she used her voice, her brilliance, her pen to dismantle injustice, not just for herself, but for all of us. Thus, in this sculpture, I intend to honor not only her professional accomplishments, but her spirit, the quiet strength, the strategic mind, the grace under pressure. I want young girls, especially Black girls, to stand before her likeness and see a mirror. I want them to know you belong, you matter, and you too can lead. This work will be rooted in the community, shaped by dialogue and uplifted by the collective memory of a city that holds deep truths. My goal is to create a work that does more than just sit in bronze. I want to breathe, I want it to speak, and I want it to connect to generations. I thank my ancestors, my family, and all the women who paved the way for me to be here. And I dedicate this commission to those still fighting for justice in big ways and small. May this sculpture, Philadelphia's First Lady of the Law, Sadie Tanner Mossell, serve as a beacon for history, for hope, and for all those that dare to dream beyond the positive. I want to thank you.